family. This is giving you something to talk about, or just a live TV, as I like to call it. I'm your host, Melissa Krechler. I'm an identity coach, spiritual teacher, business mentor, as well as creator and founder of Giving You Something to Talk About and the Women Supporting Women Can Network. Today, we're going to be talking about the various learning styles and things that both my co-host and I do to help promote healthy learning and tips and tricks to remember things. So going into that, our sponsor for today is Lissa Gilmore, and she is providing you with an ebook called Mind Magic: 4 Tricks to Remember Things. And well, who doesn't want to remember things a little bit more? Just today, I've been a little bit stressed today and forgot to turn my stove off. So, having tips to remember and keep your, health and wellness on point is probably a good idea. And I definitely need this book today. All right. Would you like to introduce yourself, Lissa?
Hi, I'm Lissa Gilmore, and I am training through mind magic. So using your mind to accomplish things is really great. I mean, your mind is absolutely tremendously, hell, we only remember 10% of what we learn. And so using all your senses to learn things, I find, is the best way. I had a head injury when I was about 30, and I couldn't tell you to put the chair under the table. It was always put the thing under the thing for 10 years. These tricks helped me to learn better. And now I can repeat a phone number without asking you 7 times to repeat it.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Our mind is a wonderful thing. And when we don't have access to it, or if, in my case today, over the weekend, my husband dislocated and broke his ankle in 3 spots and had to have surgery. And I've been picking up on his energy, which is making my mind go loopy. I forgot to turn my stove off today. Like I said, so a lot of stresses. Now, I've never had too much issue remembering things, depending on what it is. I've always been, not a straight A student, but close. And I never had to study for tests. I never had to do any of that. And for me, I think I had my own tips and tricks. And one of the main things, I was what do you call it? See, again, it's one of those days. My apologies. I'm not on point today. I had taken a test for life insurance. So I sold life insurance in Canada, as well as mutual funds and all of that fun stuff. I was a financial advisor. And so I went to go do my life insurance test. Now it's a 4-hour test, or it was when I took it, 4-hour test. And they trick you. You have to be very careful of the wording on it. And I took the pre-test 3 times, failed the first 2, took the 3rd one. And I went to go and do the test. And I finished it in 2 hours and 15 minutes. The fastest in my office, and I got the highest score in my office, which wasn't a lot. Obviously, it was like 767 or something along those lines. But it was a very hard and very detailed test. So to get anything higher was abnormal in there. But I think it depends. And the trick was for me not to second guess myself. I know, one of my children has repeatedly taken their beginners for their license. And every time it was second guessing, and they would fail because they second guessed themselves. So I think for me, that's my biggest thing. I know that you have your senses, and we'll get into that in a minute. But for me, it's the confidence. It's this not second guessing yourself, believing that you have the ability to retain information, to utilize your learning styles, which is one of the things we'll get into as well today, and just really focus on how you do well, not how everybody else does well. So how about you tell us about your tricks? What are your tricks and tips for different learning styles?
Well, we have 6 senses. Your inspiration is your best sense, and that's where you don't want to second guess because your inspiration is talking to you. And that's the state that you want to stay in when you're doing most anything. The biggest trick is gratitude. And the more you're grateful for things, the more grateful things come to you. And that's the frame of mind where you want to be in. Your 7 senses are touch, your feelings, emotions, sight, hearing. And when you add as many of those together, you remember better. And to do that, when you're learning something, you want to pay attention to how it makes you feel, what emotions are coming up, and you use those along with, well, if we go back to your senses, and when you're trying to learn something, if you talk out loud while you're doing it, you're hearing, you're seeing, and you're feeling. When I was on my way to Arkansas, and I was doing a test, and so I asked to see a purple car. We went to a gas station and a purple semi showed up. I says, okay, so you've got a sense of humor. Still, I would like to see the purple car. Well, the funny part was both of them were the same color that I had on my phone. The screen protector had a frame around it. Same color. Then I said, oh, well, okay, I want to see an orange car. Well, we got to another gas station and another semi pulled up. And I said, okay, well, finally an SUV showed up. The funny part was it was the same color as the pen I had in my hand. Well, I know those are mind tricks because they when you think of something, you're aware of your surroundings. So I said, okay, now I want $200. Well, he missed the gas station he was going to. So we went to another one and we sold a puppy for $200. Says, okay, so maybe this really works. So I said, okay, I want to see a butterfly. Now, mind you, it was in November. And butterflies are still, in their cocoons. Well, I never saw a butterfly until we got to our destination. And I went outside and there were hundreds of little butterflies flying all over the ground. So that was my indication that manifesting actually works. But to remember things, you want to use as many senses as you can while you're learning. See, sometimes with that brain injury, my brain just stops. But it's gotten a whole lot better since I started learning how to use all my senses to learn things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's worked great.
It's important. And I think there are a lot of people who have, traumatic brain injuries or, even mild brain injuries who have difficulty with their cognitive functions and their memory, their ability to express vocally or physically what they're thinking or what they're feeling. One of the things I wanted to mention about when you're trying to remember things and using your senses is how many times as a child do you grow up when you're an adult and you think back to your childhood, you associate certain memories or certain smells together, right? So if you smell vanilla, you're gonna remember baking with your grandmother, or my grandmother she would always make me the best tuna sandwiches ever. I've never been able to replicate them, but they were amazing. And every food is a big one for remembering things. I have a lot of family members that revolve around food. I have a lot of memories that involve, extreme anger or sadness. We tend to remember the things that have elicited a physical response in us, whether that is, again, emotion, feeling, a thought process, anything along those lines. That's how we end up associating it, right? Another thing for learning styles is whether or not you are a kinetic learner, an audio learner, touch, right? Sight, a visual, whatever. I tend to learn as a hands-on. I'm a hands-on learner. I like to do it and then I remember it. If you tell me where to go and I'm driving down the street, I'm not going to remember where to go. But if I drive there, I'm going to remember where to go because my mind has now processed. Okay, and you have to pay attention while you're driving. So it's utilizing all your senses in that, right? Your sight, your smell, your locations, all of that. There are so many different styles to learning. And I think one of the things that we have coming up in another episode is the school system and how we aren't teaching. And it's a hard concept to teach everything to everyone, right? You're trying to give everybody the same learning experience. Not everybody learns the same way. So it is a very high expectation on teachers that they know how to teach everybody's different learning styles, right? So teaching people individually or in group settings how they learn or how to identify how they learn, right? Manifestation is a good one. Manifestation doesn't work unless you use all your senses. You can't just put it out there and go, I want this and leave it. You have to be actively doing something, right? If you hadn't have been traveling while asking for those things, you wouldn't have seen them, right? Because you had to reach your next destination in order to see them. So we have to be working towards that goal ourselves and not just saying, oh, hey, universe, I want this, without doing any of the actual work for it.
Well, I find that ego is the biggest roadblock. Ego wants to keep you right where you're at. So you're fighting ego constantly. But once you learn the difference between inspiration and ego, inspiration is the one that not second guessing yourself, because inspiration had been able to jump in there. If you look at, we as kids, we think of the angel and the devil on our shoulders, and they're fighting back and forth because ego wants to keep you right where you're at. Inspiration wants to allow you to grow and to manifest your life the way you want it. And I have manifested everything so far for when my husband retires. We have the fifth wheel and the motorcycles and the four-wheelers to allow us, and brand new trucks. Now, just because he's the one who's got them, but I still manifested it into my life. So I've achieved my goal. And to me, it seems that what it takes is gratitude and always saying thank you. Even though you don't know who you're saying thank you to, when something pops up, like, okay, that car almost hit me. Well, thank you. And all those little thank yous bring big manifestations into your life.
So I can explain how that's done.
Yes.
So when it comes to gratitude is being overused in some contexts. Gratitude is a very powerful thing. Positivity is a very powerful thing. There's a specific way to use it that actually works and creates the outcome that you're talking about. So being grateful isn't saying, okay, if you've had traumatic experiences, no matter what they are, right? If you've had a traumatic experience, that traumatic experience, while I don't want to be grateful that I had it because obviously it sucked, at the same time, I'm now stronger. I'm now smarter. I'm now wiser. I'm more confident. I'm more capable. I have used that traumatic experience to my benefit to make myself better and push myself forward, right? So when we're using gratitude, it's not ignoring how we feel. It's not pushing away the negativity, right? Let's say if I almost got hit by a car, right? It would be like, oh my goodness, thank you that I didn't get hit by a car, right? And that was scary. And it's okay to feel scared, and it's okay to be like, just panic and stress and anxiety at that point, because obviously you just about got hit by a car. But at the same time, I'm going to really watch where I'm going. I'm going to realize that my life is important to me. I'm going to start showing that. I was having a conversation with my coach today about my husband, who again broke his ankle and is laid up at home for the next.
Yes.
And my husband has such a strong work ethic, and he's go, go, go all the time. And I never have time. I'm always at work. I can't do this. I can't do that. I need to get this done. I need to get that done. He's always going. And now he's stuck at home on the couch for the next 2 weeks, up to 12 weeks.
Oh, that's going to drive him nuts.
So he is unhappy and stressed and all of the things that you would expect from a traumatic event. And I'm sitting here because I have a different mentality. I've already worked through all that stress and anxiety. I've already worked through all the trauma that I experienced, well, most of it. And now it's like, okay, this is a great time for you to sit, relax, put yourself first, reflect on where you're at, where you want to go. He's 40, right? So midlife crisis time. And it's like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? How do you want to be, right? And it's finding the gratitude that he now has that time to think. He now has that time to plan what he wants to do. And, you know, realize that he is only 40. He still has 40, 50, 60 more years to go. So it's getting that thought process going. So manifestation does work that way, and gratitude helps and positivity helps as long as you're processing. If you don't process, it doesn't work.
Okay, and one of the things that is in my book that everybody will receive is, oh, come on, brain, don't do this now. One of the things that I learned was when you're trying to remember something, or let's say you've lost something. How many times have you lost something? And what do you say to yourself when you've lost it?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Well, if when you're putting something down, you look at your surroundings. This can take seconds once you learn the process. But when you put something down, look at things around it. Okay. Now, sometimes it may be a messy place and you're going to want to move things around. and clean it up. Well, look at that. Feel, concentrate on how you feel about this area. And then shut your eyes and see the area where you put that. And then when you can't find it, shut your eyes, take a breath, and visualize what you had thought of before.
Yeah. Well, for anybody watching, Lisa just did that. So as you probably noticed, and you can even, scroll back a couple minutes and watch that again, is Lisa said, "Oh no, brain, don't do this now." And then you could see her physically relax, take a deep breath, and instead of getting frustrated with her brain, instead of getting frustrated with herself or highly emotional, she relaxed and allowed herself the time she needed to think it out or to allow those thoughts to come in. That is very important. And that is a huge lesson for any learning styles, is to relax yourself. If you don't relax the emotions, if you don't relax the feelings, and you're filled with panic and anxiety and anger and frustration, you're not going to receive the results. You're not going to receive the download or the mindset or the knowledge that you need at that moment to proceed. So go back and look at that. Go back, 2 or 3 minutes past in this video, and go back and take a look at that and see how that worked, because that was the most amazing expression of what we're talking about and how to, rein yourself back in.
Well, now, if we just sit here for a second and drop your shoulders, and that will immediately bring you back into the where you want to be. We have a tendency of ending up with our shoulders up to our ears sometimes. And what that does is it cuts off the blood flow to your head. And another thing that I discovered is that if you're dehydrated, the first thing that gets messed up is your brain because of gravity. Okay, so, and when your shoulders are up to your ears, bring them down as far as you can. Push them down. Remember when in school where they said reach for the stars and just reach? Well, that has a lot of, when you stretch, you're not just stretching your muscles, but you're helping your blood flow. And when you drop your shoulders, it allows blood to go to your head, and you can be smarter. Your best bet is when you're taking a test, just push your shoulders down. Make it hurt and push them down, and then relax. And it just works wonders. Mm-hmm. And remember to drink lots of water. I've got a whole thing on what water does for your body. The cells release toxins, and you've got this empty space. And if you don't drink enough water, you can't get those toxins and crap out. Yeah. And then they get overloaded. Then you've got free radicals, and they're attaching themselves to your cells. And like your eyes, you've got water in your iris, but if you're dehydrated, you don't have enough water in there, and now crap gets in there, and now you got cataracts. So if we had learned to drink water as kids better, then we wouldn't have glasses and crap because of the irises getting dried out. But something's got to fill it.
Yeah.
And so if I would have known that, then I wouldn't have such troubles with my eyes. And it's been driving me crazy. And trying to drink enough water has driven me crazy. But that's one of the tricks for helping your mind remember things. But don't get frustrated when you can't find something. Don't call yourself an idiot. Just shut your eyes and you'll see it because you've imprinted it. But when you're stressed, then your muscles get all tightened up. Your brain just stops. My stepdad used to ask me, "What are you thinking?" And I used to tell him nothing. And he says, "You can't think of nothing." Yes, you can. Just sit quietly, relax, and empty your mind. And that will allow inspiration to be able to come in. And inspiration is where everything great happens. And I just love it because I went to the store the other day. I wanted to get these pliers that somebody showed me that were really cool. So I'm sitting in my truck and I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if I found the money to pay for them? I had the money, but I didn't really want to spend that money. So I get out of my truck and lo and behold, I find a $20 bill on the ground. So I went in the store and I bought the pliers. But being able to manifest on demand is not very hard. For me, it takes stopping and emptying my mind and allowing inspiration to come in. Because what is ego? The ego's the one telling you you can't. It's telling you that it wants to stay right where it's at. And so when you try to change any habits or anything else, ego is going to step in. And the trick to eliminate, or you can't eliminate ego. Ego is going to be with you forever. But if you can realize what ego is for what it is, and lower. So when ego tells you you can't, you say, yes, I can. Get away.
See,
and yeah.
Ego can be a good thing. And we all need a little bit of ego. Ego is what keeps you in check when you need to be in check. Like not wearing clothes. Ego tells you you need to wear clothes. Ego tells you you need to eat and that you need to be a priority. And that's, our intuition. I know you call it inspiration. For me, it's intuition. Our intuition is unlimited. Our gifts and abilities are unlimited. Our capabilities are unlimited. And there's been too much in the world that has told us we can't. You hear you can't, you shouldn't, why are you doing that? From outside sources all the time. Why would you do it to yourself?
Every time you call yourself an idiot or you turn around, even when you call somebody else something, when you are downgrading anybody else, what you're trying to really do is build yourself up, because at that moment you're lacking something. I had lost 100 pounds, but every time I saw somebody walk across the street and I thought, you really need to do something. So what I was really saying was I needed to do something. And I was downgrading myself while I was downgrading somebody else. And all that does, when I lost all this weight, I did it with my mind. And I just visualized myself and felt thin. I had stopped doing that for so long, but I never gained the weight back. And that was a great challenge in the first place, because what really happens when we lose weight, then ego steps in and you end up gaining it back. And you go a yo-yo effect. And I've managed not to do that, but I've waited. I still have 50 pounds to go, but that's okay. But you have to also get rid of your clothes that you used to wear, because if you keep wearing them, your mind is going to say, okay, you like being where you were, so let's put you back where you were. And so now I'm wearing a large instead of an extra large, which I kept wearing my old clothes, but inspiration, intuition, what do they call it? The universe, God talking to you, the angels, either way it works. And even if you think you got to have outside help, okay, brain, go back. It works. But I've come a long way. And the tricks that I used are in the ebook. But I have a program on how to deal with ego. So if anybody goes to mindmagic.info, by tomorrow, hopefully, I will have the program up and you can get into it. And what it is ego is the biggest killer of dreams. If we allow ego to overrun us, then manifesting and finding things and stuff. So hopefully I'll have that up. I've gone absolutely crazy over these damn programs. And then I paid for Adobe so that I could edit forms, and they took 14 cents out of my account, but they haven't let me into the program.
Interesting.
So I've been
back and forth and going crazy.
Oh, hell.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we get going?
Just remember that you can do it. You can manifest anything in your life. You do it constantly anyway, but if you let ego do it, then you keep having problems. And I think that's where. So you never get rid of ego. You're always fighting it. And you've got to let the good parts in and get rid of the bad habits, the bad beliefs, old beliefs and stuff, and allow inspiration to come in. And that's where everything wonderful happens.
Absolutely. All right, Lisa. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciated your time today. You're absolutely amazing. And I think that anybody who downloads your ebooks is going to be very lucky to get that knowledge that you're sharing with them. So for anybody watching, go and check that out. Link in the description. You'll be able to download Lisa's ebook, Mind Magic: 4 Tricks to Remember Things. And remember that no matter your age, no matter your stage, no matter your learning styles, you are capable, you are smart, you are intelligent. You just have to find what works for you. And why not try utilizing some of the tips that we've shared today? So thank you again, Lisa. I very much appreciated your time today.
Well, I thank you for the chance and getting to experience this, because, well, I've been a life coach for 12 years, but I've never really pinpointed it until this last year, and trying to work on and get a team together, because my life has been absolutely wonderful. And I want everybody to feel this. And remembering the book, the ebook, will get you started.
Sounds great. All right, Just a Family, that is your episode today. If you'd like to get a hold of myself or Lisa, you can do so. Links in the description of this video. Don't forget to go download her ebook, Mind Magic: 4 Tricks to Remembering Things. So go and check that out. If you would like to be a guest of the show, or if you'd like to see a topic featured, please reach out to us at justalivetv.com. Sign up for our newsletter if you'd like to be like and follow. Not if you'd like to be, but like and follow, share the show, help get us the knowledge out, because this show is all about inclusivity, judgment-free space, and sharing the topics that other people just aren't talking about. So lots of love. I'm your host, Melissa Krechler, and I will see all of you on the next episode. Bye.